Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening on a Monday. This is the John and Heidi Show. I'm John. This beautiful woman sitting here with me is my wife, Heidi. How you doing?
Super. How are you?
Fabulous, fabulous. Hey, a Calvert, Maryland woman began choking, and her golden retriever, Toby, jumped up and down on her chest and performed the Heimlich maneuver, saving her life.
Really?
This dog is awesome.
That is awesome.
I'm thinking about our dogs right now.
Our dogs suck.
If
Our dogs can't do any of that.
You know, we heard a story not too long ago about another dog that saved somebody's life. Our dogs, they're terrible. They don't do any of this stuff.
Our dogs think they save lives every day.
Yeah, they
bark when someone walks by the front of the house.
They are the guardians of the neighborhood.
I'm sure in their minds, they're like, did you see what I just did?
You're welcome, Mom and Dad. Just saved you from that lady that was jogging past looking extremely ferocious. So, again, a dog named Toby saved a woman in Calvert, Maryland. She was choking. Her golden retriever jumped up and down on her chest and performed the Heimlich maneuver.
That is so
awesome.
Cool.
That saved her life, or 7 lives in dog years.
See a cat try and do something like that.
Me, yeah. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month, plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Christy Walton, the widow of Walmart founder John Walton, is now the world's richest woman. She also owns a stake in solar power. It's called First Solar. Late husband John was an early investor in the alternative energy company. Guess what her net worth is?
Oh my gosh, I couldn't even begin to imagine.
$20 billion.
Wow.
Woo! That's a lot of dough.
That is.
So I wonder if she shops at Walmart. Do you think?
Probably.
I would. If I was, making that kind of dough because of Walmart, I definitely would. I don't now, but, maybe I would if I was making that kind of money because I was, one of the early owners.
Well, if you were the owner, of course you would support it.
Of course, yeah. There you go. So, again, Christy Walton recently named the world's richest woman. So there you go.
I just spilled coffee all down.
I noticed that. My wife recently named the world's clumsiest woman. No, not quite that. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVWheelator.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVWheelator.com.
We have a Jesus sighting, Heidi.
Okay.
And you know it's true because you heard it on the radio. This time, Jesus appeared in a bag of potato chips.
Oh, goodness.
Devout Catholic Rosalie Lawson of St. Petersburg, Florida, was watching television and chomping down some sour cream and onion potato chips. We're going to pause right there. Is that a good choice? Are those your favorites? What are your favorite potato chips?
Just regular potato chips.
Regular's good. I don't like onions, but I do like sour cream onion potato chips. I don't know why. I like barbecue as well. You okay? You look like you're crying.
Lenses.
Oh. You're going to say you're crying.
Out. There we go. I
you're
got it.
You're crying over there for some reason. Anyway, get back to this.
I'm having all kinds of issues this morning. My contacts falling out. I got coffee all down my shirt.
You're one sexy
I think maybe
woman.
I should just call it a day.
Anyway, she was eating her potato chips, and she looked down, and the one in her hand, and she exclaimed, "Oh, my goodness." She says the chip had the image of Jesus on it. She and her husband put it in a jar and kept it in the kitchen for safekeeping. They're pondering whether to sell it or what else to do with it. So what would you do if you found Jesus on a potato chip? Would you keep it? Would you sell it? Would you give it to somebody? Would you eat it?
I'd probably eat it.
And that was a neat potato chip.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do with it?
I don't know. Maybe she was going to collect it. I would tell you, one of my favorite Johnny Carson episodes was a lady that had a collection of potato chips that looked like people, like celebrities and whatnot. She had like here's I don't know, Jack Nicholson, whatever. And when she was on Johnny Carson, it was so funny because Johnny Carson was looking at these things and he was showing them to the audience. And then he opened his drawer and pulled out an actual potato chip just from a bowl, and he started eating his potato chip, and you should have saw the look on the lady's face. It was so funny. That was just one of my favorite bits ever, and it's on the Best of Johnny Carson DVD, so if you were a Johnny fan, you could check that out. It's probably online somewhere as well. But anyway, this lady found Jesus in a potato chip, so there you go. She's trying to figure out what to do with it. Maybe she can sell it to somebody with a potato chip collection. Fascinating.
For some reason, I really don't think it means anything. I sincerely doubt if Jesus were to send some sort of a sign, it probably is not going to be in a potato chip
You
bag.
never know. You just never know.
Yeah.
The Lord works in mysterious
I
ways.
guess so. Apparently through sour cream and onion potato chips.
Thanks for listening on a Monday.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. Federal courthouse in Sioux Falls, South Dakota has a bit of an embarrassing episode, Heidi. Mm-hmm. Turns out they had marijuana growing on their lawn.
Oh, my gosh.
Officials and a developer said that seed that was brought in when they were doing construction must have sprouted. Now, the plants were removed. No federal officials were willing to make any comments on that. They're like, I got nothing to say. Now, I don't know if that's really your brain on drugs, but this one is. An armed robber in the United Kingdom burst into a liquor store with intent to rob the place, but he shot himself in the leg.
Oh, my gosh.
That's when he tripped over a doormat trying to pull a sawed-off shotgun out of his pants.
Oh, my God.
So how did the robbery go for you? Work out as planned?
Oh, my.
Probably not. So don't rob liquor stores. And don't plant marijuana at the courthouse. These are bad things to do. All right. Thank you so much for listening. This has been your brain on drugs. We've got your moment of duh on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
I've done dumb things before. You have too. But some people get caught doing those, and that's what happens in our moment of duh. In Redding, California, 2 men were arrested. One was accused of trying to break into a Northern California recycling company, and another who simply tried to look like a guy who did it. 23-year-old Matthew Padell led police on a 1-hour chase, which ended with his capture in a residential neighborhood. But while this was all going on, 41-year-old Russell Spade was listening in on a police scanner, and he heard what the officers were looking for. They said, he's wearing khaki pants. So the San Francisco 49er sweatshirt. So Mr. Spade thought, I wonder if they would notice if I went outside wearing that same outfit. Well, they did. They arrested him. They later realized he did not fit the description of the suspect other than the clothes. But they did charge him with suspicion of obstructing justice and delaying a police officer. So
this man knew that they were looking for somebody,
and he's like, I'm going to dress like
purposely
that.
went outside dressed like that.
I'm going to dress like that and go outside and see what happens.
What an idiot.
Yeah, you get arrested. That's what happens.
What do you think was going to happen?
Duh. All right. Thank you so much for listening on a Monday.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your scoop of the day. A suburban Philadelphia county, it's Montgomery County, it has an embarrassing misspelling on signs posted around the community. They spelled the word commissioner wrong. Now, that is a commonly misspelled word. They forgot an M. Well, the mistake appeared on 26 signs. They say it's going to take 10 days to get it fixed and $4,000.
Yikes.
They're going to go around with adhesive labels to cover those up. At least not just using a Sharpie. That's what I would do. Like, I fixed it. Well, how'd you fix it? That we just found out. Yeah, I took a Sharpie and...
That's not a hard word to spell.
Commissioners, they put C-O-M-I-S-S instead of C-O-M-M.
C-O-M-M-I-S-S-I-O-N-E-I.
For those of you who like Starbucks, it's going to cost you a little more to get your Starbucks. According to an ABC News report, there's going to be an increase of 5 to 20 cents for most beverages. Tall and venti sizes are going to go up by about 10 cents in most markets. Starbucks lovers who buy a coffee every day, you'd be seeing an extra $36.50 a year for your coffee budget. So it's not huge, but there are people that are freaking out about it already. Speaking of freaking out, in Boston, remember this winter they had snow? They had a pile of snow that was 75 feet high back in the wintertime.
Yeah.
It is still 12 feet high.
That's insane.
It's melting. This is as of last week. I don't have a current height. I'm not the one that measures this by any means, but it was 12 feet high last week, still melting. So they apparently did have quite a bit of snow.
That is insane.
Researchers have found that sitting for long periods of time may be bad for your health.
Do you think?
Really? Even if you do regularly exercise. Scientists, folks, are discovering that sitting for extended periods of time might put you at risk for diabetes, heart disease, cancer, obesity, and even early death. This has some medical experts calling for intermittent daily activities like stair climbing that should be prescribed along with traditional calls for a traditional call for regular exercise.
So, like, we could be implementing work recess. Could
Yes.
be mandatory.
Hey,
how cool would that be?
Recess time. Everybody, let's get out on the playground.
I love that idea.
A new study says being popular in high school is not all it's cracked up to be. Kids, pay attention. And if you've got kids, be sure to tell them this. In fact, there is a report in a relevant magazine that finds that being popular in high school might actually make life more difficult down the road. Yes, more difficult. According to the University of Virginia study, the so-called cool kids often have more problems making friends and staying out of legal trouble after graduation.
I would agree with that.
So if you peaked in high school, they're saying that, you're
And
downhill
then
climb.
they deal with all kinds of depression and stuff, too, because once they get out of school, they realize they're not quite as special as they thought they were when they were in school.
So if you've got
it causes all kinds of problems.
You got a child that's, bummed out that they're not as popular as somebody else, just say, hey, you know what? Good news for you is you got
always remind them
the best is yet to
still
come.
Coming. That's exactly right.
77-year-old Chicago man admitted to holding up 3 banks to pay for dates with his 76-year-old girlfriend. He said, I didn't have the money and I didn't know what else to do. So 77-year-old man, held up some banks to get some dough to take out his girlfriend. She's 76.
Well, hey, at least he was doing it for a good cause.
Quite understand what this story is, but it says the machines people use to experience their favorite programs. I think they're talking about like computers that people watch Netflix on and, DVRs. Anyway, they use up a lot of energy, 224 million of them in the United States, and they run they're using as much energy as 4 nuclear reactors running around the clock. This is the biggest single energy user in many homes apart from air conditioning. So the air conditioner runs a little more, but this is taking up more energy now than even refrigerators, which is crazy. Now, our strange law. The city of San Francisco has a copyright on the name San Francisco. It is illegal to manufacture any item with the name without getting permission from them first. And since the Supreme Court upheld their copyright, San Francisco has had an annual $300 million surplus every year. Every city should do that. Anybody wants to make a map, you put our name on it, you got to pay us a royalty.
What?
Yeah, that is a strange law, but that's pretty cool for San Francisco. I probably have to pay them since I mentioned their name.
Huh.
This is your strange law, and this has been your scoop of the day.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. We usually have a guest at this time, but we don't have a guest today. But I do have something just as good as a guest.
Okay.
You know what I have?
What have you got?
I've got an excerpt from Career Builder, and it's talking about bad habits in the office. So we're going to talk about some bad habits in the office. These are things that are holding you back. If you want to get ahead in your career and you're saying, I don't know why everybody else gets all the breaks around here and I don't. Maybe it's because you're doing some of these things. So here's one of the bad habits that holds people back in their career. Missing deadlines. You ever have that happen? Where you had to have something done by like 10 a.m. and you don't do it until, I don't know, like noon or so?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are things that holds you back in the office place. What you think, if it's only a little late, it really doesn't mean anything. But what it really says to your colleagues is, I don't really view deadlines as something that apply to me. Remind yourself that people are counting on you to do your job well, which includes completing things on time. Even if you only miss a deadline by just a little bit, it can throw things off a lot, and it causes problems for your teammates, could cause anxiety issues for people. So it really can make a big, big mess, can't it, Heidi?
It can.
I was, by the way, using me as an example a bit ago. She's saying, hey, I need this order turned in by a certain time. And I'm like, I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yeah, I've been asking for days for information.
I need to get an address for a tower. I'm like, yeah, I'll get that for you. What day is it again? All right, another bad habit, dressing unprofessionally. What you think is, I'm a free spirit. What it's saying about you, though, is, I don't take my job seriously. If you're afraid of being a boring dresser, you don't have to be boring, but just make sure that you're at least professional.
Right.
Make sure you don't have things hanging out that aren't supposed to hang out. Make sure it doesn't look like you're going to the club when you really should be going to your cubicle.
I've been into a lot of businesses where you walk in and you just cannot believe what the person is walking around in.
So you don't want to be underdressed either, where you're wearing sweatpants,
right,
like you just came from the gym. Even if you did just come from the gym, dress up before you go to work, So there you go. Next bad habit, not being punctual. Can we skip this one?
Yeah.
I know what's going to happen here. What you think is, hey, as long as I get everything done, nobody cares, right? No, people do care. What you're saying by being late for things is, I'm more important than everybody else. Mm-hmm. That's not what I'm saying.
I agree with that. It's very
Everybody
rude.
in your office would like to sleep in or leave early, but they don't, because everybody else relies on people being on time. So be on time. I'm sorry. It's not because I'm sleeping in. It's because I can't say no, and I overcommit.
Yeah, you do.
Next, a bad habit that could be holding you back in your career. Checking your email, playing games, or shopping online while you're supposed to be working, Heidi.
Yeah?
You know anyone that does any of that stuff?
No.
What are you doing right now?
Right now I'm balancing hours.
Oh, okay.
So I am working while I'm working.
All right. I thought maybe you were playing a game.
No.
Because I can't really tell. I can't see your monitor from here. So I don't know what you're up to over there. I just always assume it's Candy Crush. So what you think is, I'm being discreet, but what it says is, you're not doing your job. So if somebody walks by your computer monitor and sees you playing a game, like I just said, I always assume, they just assume that's what you do all day.
Right.
And we've had issues with that where, we've had people who think, well, all she ever does is this or all she ever does is that. And we've had to talk to people and go, you can't do that at work. I'm sorry. I know that you want to go on Facebook, but you can't do that here because everybody else thinks that's all you do. But it's just when they walk by, they see you do it, but they just assume that's what you do all day. Mm-hmm. Another bad habit. It could be holding you back, according to Career Builder. Gossiping. Hey, did you hear this juicy story about Heidi? No, that's not good. What you think is, well, I'm just telling people what I heard. What it really says about you is, don't tell them anything. They cannot be trusted with information. So a little bit of gossip is heard here and there, most likely in any company. But if you want to gain a reputation for not being able to keep things confident, just gossip away. Huh. But if you want to be able to work ahead and get ahead in work and actually be promoted and make your way up the corporate ladder, you don't want to gossip. Even if it's little things that don't hurt anybody's feelings or reputations, don't tell people, because if you do, they're saying, there's somebody I cannot promote. There's somebody I can't trust with info. 2 more bad habits on the list here. Bad habit number whatever this is, being negative. What you're thinking is, everybody complains. Yeah, but if you're the complainer that's always complaining, then people call you a complainer, and that's not good. It holds you back. And then the last one on here is the polar opposite of that, trying to be everybody's best friend. What it says, what you think is, I'm just really sociable. But what it really says is, you don't set boundaries. It's not uncommon for friendships to develop at work, but if you're everybody's best friend, sometimes it's hard to separate work and friendship, and that can actually be a problem. So you have to know.
We have had that
boundaries.
problem.
I know, because I do want to be everybody's friend, and I do take, I personally just start out trusting everybody and believing everybody and thinking that whatever they say is honest. And that has bitten me in the tush a couple of times. So, there you go. If you want to read all of this, it's online at Career Builder, so go check that out. Some bad habits to avoid if you want to get ahead in the workplace, right here on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by carsforsale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at carsforsale.com.
Today is a very special day, Heidi. You know what today is?
What is today, John?
Today is Monday, the 13th day of July. That makes today International Nude Day. I'm nude under my clothes. It's also International Town Criers Day. You know what a town crier is?
It's like the guy who came running around yelling, the British are coming.
Kind of like that.
Right?
He was like standing on the corner.
Yeah.
Hear ye, hear ye. I think that's what he is. And it's Shark Awareness Day. Does this kick off
Shark Week comes.
Is
yes,
that this week?
I think
then?
it is this week.
We haven't watched Shark Week in a long time.
I love Shark Week.
And I love Shark Tank. So there you go. That's why we work out so well.
Yeah.
Today is such a special day. It is Monday, the 13th day of July.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
I think this is a really nice story. Justice and Jeremy Stamper are planning a second wedding. Now, here's why they're planning a second wedding. Justice cannot remember their first wedding.
Aww.
Sadly, according to a Time magazine article, in 2014, August of last year, just a few weeks after they were married, Justice was in a severe car accident that resulted in the loss of some of her memory.
Aww.
The couple who lives in Bristol, Tennessee, are now planning for a new celebration. So I wonder if they'll have that on the anniversary of like their first anniversary.
Well, I
That'd
would
be
assume
cool.
they wouldn't want to have a different wedding date.
So
I would assume it'd be the same wedding date.
It was August of 2014 is when the duo were married. So it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. I'm excited for them. That's really neat. Congratulations, folks. Hey, a new study finds that women tend to let handsome men off the hook for things more easily than their plainer counterparts. So if you're a handsome guy, you can get away with more stuff than if you're just a plain guy. Do you agree with this, Heidi? Do you think this is the case?
And the same goes for women.
Is that why I get away with nothing?
You get away with plenty.
So I'm going to read the study again. It says, a new study finds that women tend to let handsome men off the hook for things more easily than their plainer counterparts. So guys, if you tend to get away with a lot of stuff, that must mean you're a handsome little dude. Now, guys, sadly, if you're always getting blamed for everything, sorry, Quasimodo, this is probably not a good story for you.
Quasimodo.
I'm just saying, this is apparently not going to be good news. I'm just saying, it's probably not good news. You're like, great, I'm already getting blamed for everything. Now you're calling me ugly, too. So the study says that handsome men get off the hook far more easily than their plainer counterparts. And I would not consider myself a handsome man. I would consider myself pretty plain. But the good news is I married a beautiful woman.
I think you're incredibly handsome.
Well, thank you so much. I think you're extremely beautiful. She's my wife.
Oh,
and
thank you
it
so
just works
much.
out nice. All right, we're going to smooch a little bit. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
If you've ever wondered if bears like Big Macs, I might have an answer for you, Heidi.
Of course
I
they like
might.
Big Macs. Everybody likes Big Macs.
I don't.
Oh, I love them.
I just don't like the sauce. I don't like onions, and I
Oh,
don't
I
like
love
tomatoes, and there's a lot of stuff on it I'm not a fan
There's
of.
no tomatoes.
I don't
on
know.
Big
I've
Mac.
never had one, so I'm
I know.
steering clear
So
of
how
it.
do you know you don't like them?
Because I smelled one once. I was like,
oh my
no way.
gosh, they're amazing.
I'm going to stick with this thing over here. Hey, the answer could come from South Brunswick, New Jersey, though. Police phones exploded after a small bear was spotted standing in the drive-thru line at Mickey D's. And it's happened during morning rush hour as people were kind of commuting to work and whatnot. Eventually, the bear made his way off into the woods, and nobody was hurt. Police say, and I quote, bears are unusual here, but they're not rare in central New Jersey Township. So it's unusual that they would be in town, is what he's saying. There you go. Did I make it through that okay?
You did, yeah.
She was making fun of me. I have stumbled through everything for this whole program so far. I was wearing my reading glasses. I just took them off. I think that might actually help. Thank you so much for listening. It is a Monday edition of the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
The internet is good for your brain. Are you worried about the internet causing your brain to slow down and atrophy? Don't worry. A new study says the internet training can actually stimulate neural activation patterns, could potentially enhance your brain function and cognitive skills in older adults. This is good news. As the brain ages, a number of structural and functional changes occur, including reductions in cell activity. Research has shown that mental stimulation, similar to the stimulation that occurs on people who are on the internet, is a good thing for the cognitive processing, and it can alter the way your brain encodes new information. Take it a step further, Heidi. Try doing things online that maybe you could do elsewhere, like reading and whatnot, and it's going to actually help your brain, and you'll get that thing done at the same time. So there you go. You're on the internet right now. What are you doing over there?
I'm on the internet right now.
What are you doing?
I'm increasing my brain function.
But what, are you playing Candy Crush?
No, I'm not.
Found a new game, did you?
I'm looking at clothes.
All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
I think it's time for a feel-good story, Heidi.
I love feel-good stories.
I do too. You know why? Because they just feel good. That's the whole point of a feel-good story. An Iraq war veteran is on a different type of tour these days. He travels the country to find healing through hugs. Ian Cook suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder since returning from his deployment in Iraq. And he says he's discovered a unique method for recovery. 4 months ago, he left his Portland, Oregon home to start the Human Hug Project. This is kind of a cool thing. It is a mission to spread love to others through a simple embrace. It says on here, the Human Hug Project, so far, Cook and his friends have traveled more than 25,000 miles. That's a lot of miles, isn't it?
It is.
And they've gone across the country, going to different Veterans Affairs medical centers and hugging whoever is willing to hold on to a stranger.
Aww.
So they're going from place to place all across the nation, giving people hugs. What a cool thing. Again, the young man's name is Ian Cook, and there's a story online if you want to go on. There's even a video that you can watch. It's kind of a cool thing.
We've talked about this before, but I love hugs.
I'm not, and here's the funny thing.
I will hug anybody.
Before I married you, I think I hugged 4 people in my life. I'm serious. I was never a huggy person. And your family smothers people with hugs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hugs on top of hugs.
Fantastic.
So I kind of
make you feel so good.
Mm-hmm, I kind of sneak out when we get to Hug Fest. I'm like, I got to load the car. See you guys. Where's John? He's hiding in the car under the seat, which is crazy. I didn't even know he'd fit under there. But. So it's not that I don't like hugs because I'm not opposed to it. Young lady that is serves on a team with me at church. She every week that we get there, I walk in. She's like, "Oh, gotta get my hug." And I used to go, "Oh, okay, here's your hug." But now it's like if she was gone, she had to have surgery on her eye. When she was gone, I was like, I kind of miss my weekly hug from Lynn. So it's a cool thing, and a hug really does make a difference. So
it does.
Really cool thing this guy's doing. Ian Cook. IANCOOKE if you're going to be looking for that somewhere. Thanks for joining us on a Monday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
No need to be hungry. The UN has it all figured out. Maybe.
Okay.
It doesn't sound tasty to me, but the United Nations is trying to promote the idea of combating world hunger by eating bugs.
Yeah.
36 scientists from 15 nations suggest that the UN help promote small-scale insect ranches and distribute recipes encouraging the harvesting of locusts and other insects to grind into a paste and add to food. They even encourage astronauts to raise bugs in space and eat them rather than try to carry meat up there. A Dutch entomologist known as Mr. Edible Insect blames Western disgust at eating bugs for the failure of aid agencies to incorporate insects into their mix, saying that they are completely biased. Yeah, we are, because it's kind of gross.
That's pretty disgusting.
That is my opinion, of course. Now, if you like to eat bugs, more power to you. You can have all of mine. I'll gladly I'll take your pork chops and T-bones. You can have my bugs. Sound like a simple trade.
That's disgusting.
I would rather be hungry, I think, than eat that. That just doesn't.
I can't even stand to see a bug, much less eat one. So.
Well, let's
no
move
interest.
On. We can't end there. I don't want to leave a bad taste in everybody's mouth. How about this? According to a delighted police force in Pennsylvania, a wanted man by the name of Norman Clarence Kenny was caught. You know how he was caught?
How?
He was looking for a taxi, and he thought that he was getting into a taxi, but he opened the door and climbed into the back seat of a police car.
What an idiot.
Can you take me to... Whoa, wait a minute. Jail, apparently. He walked in. Yeah, he was looking for a taxi, and he jumped in.
Wow.
If only they were all that easy, one officer said. And a fun story here from Lincoln, Nebraska. They have a clear message for local joggers. The thong is wrong. It's been nice and warm there, and a 26-year-old man was arrested for running on a Lincoln bike trail in nothing but thong underwear.
No way.
Yes, and nothing else but shoes and socks and thong. They say that constitutes indecent exposure in Lincoln, Nebraska. For those of you who would like to hear our podcast, we do have a bonus break we do on the podcast. Go to john-amp-heidishow.com, and you're going to find our podcast button on the top. And today's podcast bonus break, we're talking about men's fashion mistakes. That was since we have this guy wearing a thong. That's not on the list, believe it or not. All right, time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you so much for joining us. You are listening to The John and Heidi Show.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. I use them. You should, too. It's a really cool, really, really cool program. You send them a little tiny bit of money, and they'll send you razors for the rest of your life. Maybe
well, you have to send them money every month.
Yeah, you send them money, and they just keep sending them to you. It's like you send them money, and they send you more. You send them money, they send you more.
Yeah.
It's $1 a month for the razors and $2 for shipping. So $3 a month for the Humble Twin. I have upgraded to the Executive, and I think that was definitely the way to go. I'm not just telling you that because it costs more. I'm telling you that because I love them. It's $9 a month all in, so that's shipping and everything.
It is a good razor. I steal it
caught
all the
you
time.
this
You
morning.
caught me. I know you did.
I heard the shower running, and I was thinking, I'm going to catch her in the act. So I go walking in there, and she's got the razor in her hand. She's smiling. I was like, hi. I don't know what you were shaving.
What do you mean when I was shaving? I was shaving my legs.
But when I caught you weren't shaving anymore. You were already done.
I was putting it away.
I know.
Trying to nonchalantly set it down so you wouldn't notice.
You didn't even want the metal to click the metal. So she is now also going to be a member of the Dollar Shave Club. You're getting your own razors. If you'd like to, go to dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, our bonus break. Men's fashion mistakes. It doesn't cost much to correct most common fashion mistakes, according to Lloyd Boston, author of Make Over Your Man, The Woman's Guide to Dressing Any Man in Her Life. He says they're usually small things that, once corrected, make a well-dressed man out of almost anybody. Number 1, the overstuffed wallet. He says, this is the biggest mistake most men make. Often they store items in there they don't really need to carry around. Less is more. So my wallet is right here. Is that overstuffed?
No.
Let me take a look and see. There's no money in here, I've noticed. I don't really have that much in my wallet.
No, you don't.
Do you remember the episode of Seinfeld where George Costanza pulls out his wallet? It was about the size of a football.
No, I don't remember that one.
That was such a funny episode. Another thing on the list, according to men's fashion mistakes, overdressing. Many men clutter up their appearance with a fancy suit. They put on a flashy belt and snappy shoes, but it's often the clean and simple guy in the room with a crisp white shirt and a basic solid tie who gets the attention. So they're saying, tone it down a bit. You don't need to be overdressed. Next, wearing unkempt shoes. I just wanted to say unkempt. I've never said that. Unkempt shoes. Shoes can make or break an outfit. They're often the last thing you think of, but men should choose the best shoe they can afford and take care of them by shining them regularly and storing them on shoe trees.
I do agree that shoes make the outfit.
I do agree I don't have a shoe tree, and I'm not getting one anytime soon. I do have a shoe shelf.
You do. And it's not like you've got shoes stacked on top of shoes, so they're not being smushed down. You've got them laid out nice.
Yeah, you take good care of me.
I do.
Another men's fashion mistake, wearing items attached to clothing. Cell phones and other accessories detract from a great outfit. Beepers, knives, pens in your pocket, all of those things. Keychains, they tend to give men lumps and bumps all over. Remember, less is more. I don't have any of that stuff. I carry my cell phone in my pocket. I used to have one that clipped on my belt. I didn't like that. It poked into my side. That was so uncomfortable. I could not do that. Then again, it's because my side kind of pours over my pants. Maybe that's my problem, though. All right, and last on here, everything tucked and belted. Notice that stylish men who appear on the red carpet often wear clothes a little more loosely. It doesn't look sloppy. It has quite an elegance to it. It's sort of a James Bond meets Let me try that again. James Bond meets Denzel Washington look. So
I would agree that I like the untucked look.
I know. When I tuck my shirt in, you're like, you should untuck that. I'm
yeah.
Like, yeah, but I can't. I'm wearing a suit. So it just doesn't quite look right. So my tuxedo, I can't walk around with my shirt untucked. What are you talking about?
Untuck that.
Untuck that. I'm not even tucked in. This is my gut hanging out the top of it. So if you'd like to know more, again, the book is called Make Over Your Man, The Woman's Guide to Dressing Any Man in Her Life. And you can get all the details that you want to get. All right, this is going to do it for your bonus break. Thank you so much for joining us. The bonus break is brought to you each and every day, well, each and every weekday, because, we ain't working no weekends. We love you and all, but
we're not
that's
fools.
just crazy. Brought to you every weekday by our good friends at the Dollar Shave Club. And if you go on there and sign up, I guarantee you're going to love the razors. If you don't, then I'm wrong. But I'm going to guarantee you're going to love them. DollarShaveClub.com/radio.